Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Innovation Podcast, your source for all things innovation. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Ted Kim on the line, and he's CEO over at Private Internet Access. Ted, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam. Great to be here. Thank you for having us.
All right, so excited to get into the benefits of private internet and what that means. But before we do, let's just go a little bit further into your company. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at Private Internet Access, please.
Sure. Well, Private Internet Access was created over a decade ago to provide the most private and secure internet experience for our customers. And what that really means is that, back then in the early days of the internet, and even now, there's this big push to get everybody online. Now more than ever, people are connected, whether it's through their mobile phones, their tablets, their laptops, their computers, however they're connected, and they're actively using it more than ever, whether it's for work, to stay connected to loved ones, for information, for news. It's constant 24/7, 365. And in that rush, there was, we noticed that people were not that concerned, or nobody was talking about making sure the information that they're providing or they're trading when they're online is being protected. And then from a privacy standpoint, that people weren't compromising the information that was out there and exposing too much of themselves or more than they wanted to. So what PIA really does is it makes sure that from a privacy standpoint, you're only sharing as much information as you want to share, and then from a security standpoint, making sure that all the data that you're transferring is completely secure as well.
Wow, I mean, what a hot topic and what a big deal. I mean, and I feel like it does. This does not get enough press. I mean, we all hear when there's a huge data hack or something like that, like a Bank of America or this, or another big, I should say, a big company has something compromised to Facebook, and we get these little messages on our thing. But how many of us think about that for our companies and overall? So at the end of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to obviously leave your website or any other contact information, but just so that the right people do follow up, what are the typical types of companies that are a good fit for private internet access?
Well, I mean, it's really anybody who is online, and that relates to everybody. And I think that the way to think about it. Size
of company. Is this an enterprise solution? Is this a direct-to-consumer solution? That's what I mean by what type of company.
Sure. Well, enterprises have been using VPNs, their own VPNs for some time now. But I think people are recognizing that is more of a security product as opposed to a privacy and security product. And so for small business owners, for individuals, we are a direct consumer product, but our product, we know, is being utilized by small businesses as well as enterprises, because anybody, again, to go back to the idea that anybody online needs to have this protection, is out there. So, I mean, we think about it like this: if these days, if you're getting into a car, unless it's you're probably going to want to make sure that it has anti-lock brakes, that it has airbags, that it has every sort of safety precaution out there. We don't put as much thought into that in our online activity as we should. If you're sharing, whether it's financial information, banking information, health information, or even pictures of your kids or your families or whatever you're doing, you don't necessarily want other people to be able to see that information. And without utilizing PIA or VPNs, then that becomes definitely a risk. So, we see it on very, very high levels with very sensitive information. In the sense of journalists, in the case of journalists, for example, it could literally be life and death because they are transferring information that, that could show their whereabouts, what they're doing, their activities, and in countries or in environments where, that's incredibly dangerous to them, then they don't want their identities or their locations exposed. So, I mean, for people who transfer any level of sensitive information or what is sensitive to you, you want to make sure that you have this, you're completely protected.
Let's talk a little bit more about just what's going on in the environment overall, like cyber scams, things like that. I mean, because you're in the middle of all this stuff because you're working to secure from these things, so you have a unique vantage point. I mean, talk a little bit more on that, please.
Sure. Well, I mean, we see a few different things, right? Well, on one level, we have this big push to get into public Wi-Fi, hotspots. So people are constantly, whether they're out and about, municipalities offer public Wi-Fi hotspots, coffee shops, libraries, everywhere you go, it's all about utilizing public Wi-Fi. Well, the fact of the matter is that anybody on that public Wi-Fi or on that network can see the unencrypted data that you're pushing through that network. And what PIA does is it encrypts all that data going through so that even if somebody were to get in the middle of that and to hack it or to see your network data, then that's all being encrypted and it'll just come up as gibberish. On the other side of it, and even from an ISP standpoint, when you are at home or you're at work, if you're connected through your ISP is able to see every website you go to, everything that you're doing, and they're able not only to see it, but that they can trade on that too. They can resell that data. They can resell all your tracking information, which is why, from a targeted advertising standpoint, you'll see that you're sitting at home talking about a toaster, and the next thing you know, you'll have 100 toaster ads wherever you go. And, that's because all that data is being captured and then being sold almost instantaneously. So, I mean, depending on how sensitive you are to things like that, you want to put up every precaution that you can. And certainly, we know now that every camera, every video camera, every phone, every mic that is online is I think we can presume that somebody's watching or somebody's listening constantly.
Wow, that is something else. That just chills, Ted, chills. I know you live in that world, right? I know you live in that world, but I'm looking at all my appliance, everything around me right now. I'm like, oh, you're getting unplugged. You're getting unplugged, Ted said.
Well, you don't necessarily have to unplug everything, but you want to make sure.
I'm unplugging everything, Ted. You got me.
Well,
oh man.
The other thing that people are really clever. There are some bad people out there that utilize technology to do terrible things. So I mean, when people are worried either about their health or they're worried about their finances and what's going on in their lives, these phishing emails that get out there where people will try to completely bait you into going onto their website or clicking through and providing information. You really have to be very, very careful now about any random email you get, even if it looks like it comes from a government or it comes from somewhere official. If you did not request it, you have to think twice about anything that you open from an email or a text standpoint. Certainly, double check any phone numbers that you might receive, so that that it's actually a valid number from a government website or something like that. So you have to just be very, very aware constantly. And a lot of this is common sense, but you definitely want to put some barriers up on it.
Man, that's awesome. So awesome stuff there today, Ted. So if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on private internet access, I mean, what's the best way for them to reach out and to learn more?
Sure. Our website is privateinternetaccess.com, one word. And, on our website, we have a great forum with a lot of thought leaders in terms of privacy and security and what people can do to protect themselves, companies, organizations, anybody that is active online. Just some basic precautions. So there's a ton of information out there. So I would highly recommend anybody who's interested in these subjects go check out our blog and our forum as well.
Fantastic. Well, Ted, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Private Internet Access. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Innovation, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. I mean, love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Ted, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.